So here we have a sample video on how to do some basic reflections. A reflection, again, is when you start out with some image on one side, you find a mirror, and you flip it over that mirror. Okay, first question over here is to reflect across y equals -2. That means the line y equals -2. Well, the line y equals -2, all it needs is for all of its y coordinates to be equal to -2. So let me just try putting some coordinates in there. Well, the point 0, -2 has a y coordinate of -2. What about the point 1, -2? Well, that has y equals -2 also. It doesn't matter what my x's are as long as my y coordinate is always -2. Let me put one more in there. How about -1, -2? So if I start plotting these points, 0, -2, 1, -2, and -1, -2, I'm starting to draw my line. That is exactly what line y equals -2 is. So let's start out, always when we're doing a reflection, by drawing the line that we're going to reflect across, our mirror, our line of symmetry. It means all the same thing. So I'm just going to draw that line using my straight edge compass. Okay, now that I've found my line of symmetry, all I need to do is for each of my points, just count how far away from that line they are and go that same distance on the other side of my mirror. Now, this is in black ink. Let me switch over to blue ink so that our image looks a little bit different from our pre-image. I'll start with Q, and I'm counting, well, it's 1, 2 points away from my mirror, so I'm just going to go straight up, 1, 2 points away. This will be my Q prime. All right, let's take a look. I think this is X or Z. I can't see. It's blocked by the arrow. I'm pretty sure it's Z. Well, Z is 1, 2, 3 points away from my mirror, 3 units away from my mirror. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3 units away from my mirror again to plot my point Z prime. Next, let's take a look at E. Well, E is just 1 point away from my mirror, so it's just going to be 1 up here. This is E prime. Finally, I have my point I, the letter I. Well, if it's directly on my mirror, it's 0 away. So I'll go 0, and it's just going to stay right there. This is my point I prime. Now, when we're connecting the lines, let's make sure E and I were together. So I'll put E and I together. E and Z were together. So I'll put those lines together as well. I and Q were together, so I prime and Q prime are going to line up. And then Q prime and Z prime, well, Q and Z were together, so I'll put those together. All right, so that's number 1 for us. Notice how I paid attention to the line that I was reflecting across. I didn't just reflect it across the y-axis or the x-axis. You need to make sure that you find the line of symmetry, the line you're reflecting across, draw that in, and then reflect it over your line. Let's take a look at number 2. Well, number 2 is pretty straightforward. That tells us to reflect the shape ADMW over the x-axis. Well, my y-axis goes up to down, that's why that little y is there, and this right here is my x-axis. So my mirror, my line of symmetry, or my line of reflection are just going to be right across this line over here. Let's go. A is 1, 2, 3 away from it, so A prime, my image, my reflection is going to be that same distance away from my mirror. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. This is A prime. How about D? Well, D is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. So D prime is going to be just as far, 5 away there. M, I'll do the same distance. It's the same distance as D. M prime. And W is 4 away from my mirror, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So my reflection is just going to be 4 away again. 1, 2, 3, 4. W prime. Finally, I'll make sure M with W, M with D, D with A, to make these lines, and then W with A, W prime to A prime. And there we go. I have a reflection of ADMW over the x-axis. Now we're going to start to get a little bit trickier. Let's take a look at number 3. Reflect across the line y equals negative x. This line's a little bit more difficult, but it's not that hard. All this means, well, let's take a look back up here. All that this meant when I had the line y equals negative 2 just meant that my y coordinate always equals negative 2. So here, all this means is that my y coordinate is equal to the negative of my x coordinate. So let's just start putting in some x coordinates there. If my x coordinate is 1, well, my y is going to be negative of my x, so it was 1, it'll be negative 1. If my x coordinate was 3, well, y is negative of my x is 3, so the negative of 3 is negative 3. What if my x was negative 2? Well, y is the negative of my x, so a negative, negative 2, those two negative signs cancel out, it becomes a positive 2. And let's start plotting these points. So 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, 3, negative 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then let's go on the other way. Well, negative 2, 2. And as you see, we start drawing this diagonal line that goes from the top left to the bottom right. This is my line, y equals negative x. So I'll just use a straight edge compass to draw that line out so it looks pretty. There we go. Now, this is where reflections start to get a little bit confusing. We've drawn our line, we know to reflect across this. But when I have a diagonal line that's at a 45-degree angle, like this line is, I can't just go straight across and then keep going. That's not how a mirror will work, right? If I have it straight up and down, I see, oh, I want to go straight to my mirror, and I want to go straight past the same distance. I want to go straight to my mirror, I want to go straight past the same distance. Well, the way we're going to do it is I'm going to start by going horizontally. So I'm going to take point S, and I'm just going to go horizontally towards my mirror. So I'm just going to find out how far away it is from my mirror, going horizontally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 6 jumps away from my mirror, so I'll do that same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice when I went past my mirror, though, that instead of continuing straight horizontally, once I hit my mirror to do my reflection, I started going vertically and on the other side of the mirror. So in this case, it was vertically and down. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then counted 6 down once I hit my mirror. This is going to be my point, S prime. It works the exact same way for the rest of my points. I can choose to go whichever direction I want. So let's say with A, I'm going to start counting vertically this time towards my mirror. Well, I'll go 1, 2, but now that I got to my mirror, I need to switch. I was going vertical before, so now I need to go horizontal. I counted 1, 2, so now it's going to go 1, 2. This will be my A prime. J, I'll count vertically. I'll go 1 down. Now I need to start going horizontally because I'm on the other side of my diagonal reflection. 1 down, then 1 horizontal. This is my J prime. Finally, let's find T. Well, we've done a couple of verticals. Let's go horizontal again. Well, from T to my line, I'll go 1, 2, 3 jumps. Because I was going horizontal, now I'm going to switch. I don't just keep going. Once I hit my reflection point, I start going the opposite. So I was going horizontal, now I'll go vertical. It was 1, 2, 3, and I'll go 1, 2, 3 to plot my final point in my image, T prime. Now, when we're drawing out our image, let's be really careful to connect the dots that were connected in our pre-image. T and J were connected in our pre-image, so T prime and J prime are going to go together. J and A were connected in my pre-image, so J prime and A prime are going to connect in my image. A and S, So I'll do A prime and S prime, and then S and T, so S and T. All right. Now, we can check to make sure that our reflection actually looks good on a diagonal line by just turning our paper so that we have a vertical, or maybe if you prefer, a horizontal line. I'm finding it hard to find the diagonal here. Ah, there we go. That's, oh, I see, I moved up. That's what I'm looking for. We're still on number 3. Or a horizontal. I like to look at it vertically though. There we go. Okay, let's check to make sure that this actually looks okay. Well, A was this far away, and A prime is that same distance. Notice A was to the left before, now it's to the right. I took it and I flipped it over. S was all the way out to the right before, now it's all the way out to the left. And it looks like it's that same distance from my mirror as my images, my S prime. J prime and J look good, and so do T and T prime. All right, let's look at one final question together. This one is not difficult, but just different looking. All right, I need to reflect across the line y equals -1. Well, I'm just going to find those points where y is -1. So y is 0 here, y is -1 here. So that's one point where y is -1. Y is also -1 over here, right? This is the point 1, -1. Y is also -1 over here. Ah, I have enough to start drawing my line. Y is equal to -1. Oh, let me make sure I don't mess up with my straight edge. There's my line, y equals -1. Now, this is kind of weird, because in all of our other reflections, over here, and over here, our images reflected over a line that was on the outside of it. This time, though, this image is reflecting over a line that's inside of it. It looks kind of weird, but it doesn't change what we're doing. We're going to do the exact same thing. So, I have point L here. It's 1 point away from my mirror, so I'll just go straight up above my mirror. Again, don't forget, this is not a diagonal line, so I'm not doing any weird horizontal vertical stuff. It's just a horizontal line, so I'm just going to count 1 to my mirror. I'll count 1 up above my mirror, L prime. I'll do B prime also, the one that's below it. So B is 1, 2 below my mirror, so it's just going to go 1, 2 above my mirror. 1, 2 above my mirror. This will be B prime. Now, well, I was below the mirror before. I'm just seeing how far this one is away from the mirror, and I'll just go below the mirror again. So before I started out below, I ended up above. Here, they start out above, so they're going to flip over. It ends up below it. Well, W is 1, 2, 3, 4 points away from my mirror, so I'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Here's W prime. And finally, for I is 1, 2, 3 points away from my mirror, so I'll just go 3 points down. 1, 2, 3 units down. This is I prime. Now, again, make sure we're connecting all the correct points. W and L went together, so L prime and W prime, those will go together. Okay, I and W were together, so I prime and W prime will go together. I and B went together, so I prime and B prime will go together. And then finally, B was connected to L in my pre-image, so I'll connect B prime to L prime in my image. All right, this is the reflection of my original image, WIBL, over the line y equals -1. I said this was going to be the last one, but let's go over 2 more, and I'm going to do these really, really quickly, just so you guys get more chances to practice and see if you're right away. All right, the line x equals -3, x is -1 here, x is -2 here, x is -3 here, x is also, this is -3, 1, -3, -1. I think I found my line. So here is my line, x equals -3. Okay, let me move this paper up a little bit. Okay, well, I have my line, x is equal to -3, and now I have to reflect it just like the previous question, So s is 1 away, I'm going to go to my mirror, go that same distance away, s prime will be another 1 away. W is 1 away, so w prime will be 1 more away. I is 2 away, so I prime will be 2 away. P is 1 away, so P prime will also be 1 away on the other side. P and I were connected, S and W were connected, W and I were connected, and then S and P were connected, so S prime and P prime. I'll connect. That's my reflection of WIPS over the line x equals -3. Final question, reflect across the line y equals x. Well, in this case, my y and my x coordinates always need to be the same. So, where does that happen? At the point 0, 0, y is equal to x. My y coordinate equals my x coordinate. That works out. The coordinate 1, 1, my y is equal to my x. That works out, 1, 1. And it continues like that until you get the line that goes directly through our graph at a slope of 1 like this. This is the line y equals x. I found my mirror, now I'm just going to reflect. Now don't forget, this line's diagonal, so I'm going to do that weird thing where I start going horizontally, and then when I hit my mirror, I go vertically. So L starts out here, it's 1, 2 away from my mirror, and then L prime, well, it's going to be the same distance, but now going down. So it was 1, 2, L prime will be 1, 2. H, I'll do this one horizontally too. H is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. So H prime is going to be 5 away also, but now going vertically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's H prime. All right. Q, this time I'll go vertically and then horizontally. Q is 1, 2, 3 units away from my line. So Q prime will be the same thing. 1, 2, 3 units away from my line. This is Q prime. Finally, P is 1 unit away from my line. I started counting vertically, so I'll go horizontally, or I could count horizontally and go vertically. I'll get to the same point. P prime is going to be right here. Now this one is the reason that I've been telling you guys all along to pay attention to what was connected to each other first, because this Q kind of looks like it's in the middle of everything, this Q prime. So, well, Q and P are attached, so in my image, Q and P will attach. Q and H are attached here, so again, Q and H go together. H and L are attached, so those go together. Not H and Q. H and P are attached, so I will connect, not H and P, L prime and P prime. L and P are attached, that's right. So I'll attach my points L prime, P prime. All right, well, I'm not sure if that looks quite right, but if I move it to try and see, yep, that looks like I took my L, went that same distance across my mirror. Same thing with Q, same thing with H, same thing with P. So that was a review on how to do some basic reflection questions. I hope that it helped.